Welcome to an on-demand training on understanding comparison table results with AgVeritas. In our last on-demand training video, we discussed understanding the second page of your AgVeritas analysis results, the spatial effects map. In this video, I'm going to take just a moment to discuss understanding the third page of those results, the comparison table. And so here I am viewing the comparison table, which you can access by clicking on the Comparison tab at the top here. And the comparison table is designed to let you dig into the yield trends and see how they change with different product applications or in different areas of the field, and hopefully it's designed in a way that makes that sorting and filtering easy and a bit less time consuming. So focusing on the left hand side here, to start, you see that you can select which layer to evaluate. Here I want to see how the yield responded to my fungicide test treatment in the different elevations on my field. Now those are already selected here, but you'll see how I could select to evaluate the fungicide treatment by the different soil types on the field by selecting that in the drop down and clicking on the Calculate button at the top left. So moving down the left hand side, you see the other variables that were included in the analysis. A quick note here, these are in order of explanatory power from highest at the top to lowest at the bottom, or that same ranking you saw in the summary page results. And this is by design to help you prioritize your selections to what mattered the most on the field. Next to each variable, you see that I have a few selections that I can make in the drop-downs. Using spatial effects as an example, you see that currently all is selected. And what choosing all means is that I am ignoring the impact of that variable in the results you see on the right-hand side. Choosing all for the other variables, such as the spatial effects and soil types, will show you the yield response across different elevations on average to the fungicide. This is a great way to get a quick overview of how a product performed on average in different areas of the field. But one thing I want to point out here is that you see a little orange warning icon when all is selected. This icon appears as a warning because these other factors, the spatial effects and soil types in this case, were shown to have an impact on the yield. And so by selecting all, you're ignoring the impact of those variables. Clicking on the yellow warning icon will give you a little bit more detail for your reference. And so looking at the right hand side of the page now, I want to walk through a few things to note about the yield trends you see. So the top number in each square is the yield in bushels per acre, and the number underneath it is the total acreage for that area. And the green highlighted cell in each row is the one with the highest yield. So focusing in on the far right column, these numbers are the difference in yield, in this case between the fungicide and the untreated areas. So in this case, it looks like we're seeing on average higher yields in my treated areas, but as we climb to the higher elevations on the field, that impact becomes smaller and even negligible at the highest elevation range. And that's what this warning icon is telling you. Anytime we're not highly confident that the difference in yield is significant, we let you know with one of these icons. So in this example, we see that on average, there appears to be a positive response to the fungicide, at least at the lower spots on this field. But we know that those spatial effect areas and the soil types in this case also were impacting the yield. So now on the left hand side, I'm going to choose to focus in on the areas of the field where there were no spatial effects present by selecting none next to spatial effects. And I want to see if those yield trends change when I focus in on a certain soil type in my field. So I'll choose one of the soil types and then hit the Calculate button at the top left. And so now we see, looking back at the right hand side here, that those yield trends have changed drastically. We're still seeing higher yields in this soil type with no spatial effects present at the lower elevations on the field. But in this soil type, even at the highest elevation, we still see a much higher yield in the treated areas. And so to take a step back for a moment, if your original goal is to answer the questions, where is that fungicide going to pay on my field and how much, to get that quick, actionable answer, you'd have to look at each combination of these soil types by each elevation range, applied versus not applied, And as you begin to overlay all those layers, it can become a real challenge to get that quick answer. And so that's why we have the fourth page of the AgVeritas analysis results, the profit map, which we will cover in our next on-demand training video. Thank you for viewing this brief tutorial on understanding comparison table results with AgVeritas. As always, we hope you found this on-demand training helpful, and if you have any questions or feedback, please don't hesitate to give us a call.